Evening, everyone. I think we've got all the people in the room now. Good evening. Welcome to the 2020 Impact Accelerator graduation. My name's Austin Wilson. I am the Impact Program Manager here at SEG. We're so glad you could join us just to celebrate and support the hard work of our entrepreneurs as they seek to create positive change both here in Rhode Island and beyond. Just a quick note, if you could please mute yourself to just avoid background noise during the whole event. We are also going to have some people potentially muting you, so apologies in advance if you forgot to mute yourself. We're just trying to cut down on background noise. But first, I want to hand it over to our CEO, Kelly Ramirez, just for a few words. So take it away, Kelly.
Oh, thank you, Austin. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Of course, we wish we could all be in person. The Accelerator graduations are always fantastic celebrations. But here we are, and we'll do an in-person celebration at some point. For those of you who are new to Social Enterprise Greenhouse, just quickly, we are a organization that supports social entrepreneurs, and we try to ensure that they get the business supports, networks that they need to launch and grow businesses that are making our world a better place. So we have a very comprehensive menu of services, an early stage incubator, of course, the accelerator. We have a co-working space in Providence. We have offices in Newport and Pawtucket Central Falls. We have a loan fund. We do a lot of work to match university students with internships with our portfolio ventures. We really just try to meet the entrepreneurs where they are, and we're constantly listening, learning, and trying to do everything that we can to make sure that entrepreneurs and businesses get the support that they need. Tonight is a very exciting event because we get to hear pitches from some amazing social entrepreneurs, and I have to say this cohort is really fantastic. So tonight is all about them. Just very quickly before we get to the pitches, I'd like to thank the funders that support this program, the Department of Labor and Training Real Jobs RI program, and also the Newman Zone Foundation. We could not do this without their amazing support. I would also like to thank the coaches and advisors that supported this cohort. I always say that our volunteer network is our secret sauce. We have some of the best entrepreneurs and business leaders in our network, and they are very, very generous with their knowledge and networks and can be absolutely transformational for the entrepreneurs that we work with. I'd also like to thank the amazing SEG team for all of the work that you put into this. Obviously, we had to pivot and adapt very quickly right in the middle of this program. And most of all, I'd like to thank Austin for your fantastic work with this cohort. And finally, thank you to the entrepreneurs. I can't wait to hear your pitches. Thank you for also being very adaptable and making the pivot to a virtual accelerator. I hope we can do a lot of sort of alumni gatherings in person to make up for the time that you missed together. Thank you for all the hard work that you put into this program, but most of all, thank you for the amazing work that you do every day to make our world a better place. You're amazing. And before we get into the pitches, we have a special guest speaker tonight. I love to hear from entrepreneurs who have been on the entrepreneurial journey for a while, and Bill Daugherty is certainly one of those people. He has had a very, very successful career as a serial entrepreneur. I think sort of originally starting out maybe as more of a traditional entrepreneur. We can hear from him, but he has definitely pivoted to becoming just a very, very impactful social entrepreneur. He was instrumental in helping to launch the Entrepreneurship Center at the Met School. He was also a co-founder of NBA Math Hoops, which I think has transitioned to a new name, LearnFresh, or anyway, Bill will talk to us about that. And most recently, he and his partner Tracy have purchased 7 Stars, and they are scaling that business and doing some really important work in the community. Bill has been a supporter of Social Enterprise Greenhouse from very, very early on. So thank you, Bill, for that. And thank you for all the work that you do. And we'd love to hear a little bit about your story and your path and any advice that you have for the entrepreneurs that will be pitching tonight.
Thank you, Kelly. And yeah, I've been a big fan of yours and the organizations from the beginning. I think what you guys are doing is incredible. I will say, it hit me while you were talking, we can do this in person once we're all able to. Right across the street from SEG, we're going to open a 7 Stars at the corner where it used to be Olga's. Will be a 7 Stars soon. So that would be a really nice place to break bread. Kelly asked me just to talk a little bit about my journey. I'm 56 years old, so I'm going to go as fast as I possibly can on that and just hit the kind of inflection points, and then just talk quickly about entrepreneurship and why I love it, and social entrepreneurship, and a couple of little observations. But this is your night, so I'm going to talk quickly, and I'm going to move fast. The 3 main inflection points for me personally was the first one, getting into the University of Georgia. It's a long, long time ago, and things were very different then. I was not a good student. Neither one of my parents had gone to college and really didn't emphasize grades that much. And, I found myself as a senior with really no place to go. And, one very important teacher showed a lot of interest in me and convinced me to work and to get into the University of Georgia. And you can't do this now, but I literally talked my way into college, and I would characterize it more as begging my way in. I did really well there, and that led to a lot of really good things. I started a company and was successful academically. So the second really big inflection point for me, about 7 years later, is I got into the Harvard Business School. And so when a kid from the University of Georgia gets into the Harvard Business School and they say, you can do whatever you want, you really believe it. And so I said, well, I really want to work in sports. So I put myself in a position through a lot of hustle to work. Coming out of business school, I worked for the National Basketball Association in the 90s. So if anybody watched the Michael Jordan special that got a lot of attention recently, those were the years I was coming in as Magic and Larry were going out, and Michael was on the rise. And I was there about 9 years, and it was incredible. I was in charge of business development for the NBA. And for this group of people, I think you would have picked it up. Anybody asked me about my job, I very specifically said, I have the greatest job in the world. And it was great. We were doing really cool things and starting things, and we had no shortage of opportunity. And I love sports and I love basketball, so it was great. But I was always important to say job, because it really wasn't mine. And to me, there was a difference. It was a real, and I always, even though I had the greatest job in the world, I spent a lot of time thinking about, okay, how am I going to, when am I going to start my own thing? And fortunately, a friend of mine, one of my classmates from business school, and I just kept talking about different ideas, and we got in, I would say, late on the internet, early days. We missed the easy money. We had to build a real company. We originally launched a company called i1.com. Ultimately, 7 years later, when we sold the company, i1 was kind of a throw-in into the deal. We rode a crazy roller coaster for a number of years. You know, it was crazy valuations, and then it crashed. And when it crashed, everybody was scrambling to stay alive, including us. 900 internet companies went out of business in the year 2000. And all we tried to do was stay in the game. And we were fortunate, we stayed in the game. We figured out a little ahead of everybody else except Google that search was a great business. And we ultimately grew a small company into being a nice percentage of the search marketplace. And as soon as we were making really nice profit, we sold the company because we felt like it was going to be very difficult to compete against Google. And at that point, most people had not heard of them, but they were just a better product. So we sold our business to Ask Jeeves. Together, it was a stronger company, and then they ultimately sold. So it was one of those rare win-win-wins. Since then, you know, we moved to Rhode Island, and I've done more investing in other entrepreneurs for a while, which I didn't enjoy as much, frankly. I did start the E-Center at the med school, which has been fantastic and still is incredible because we got great people doing really, not just important work, but really fun, interesting work with high schoolers. And it's so inspiring. We also started, I partnered with a student from Brown to start NBA Math Hoops, and I'll talk about that in a minute, and that's been fantastic. I didn't enjoy the investing part. It just wasn't hands-on enough for me. And so I switched strategies probably about 8 years ago and really went all in on one company. So for a number of years that ended about 2 years ago, I owned and ran a company called ANC Sports. We did digital signage in arenas and stadiums and, train stations and airports and all that. And we sold the business about 2 years ago. Our kids were going off to college. My wife had previously been an attorney. And we said, we've always talked about doing a business together. So we looked for something local. And we got very fortunate that the couple that had started Seven Stars Bakery were they've been doing it for 19 years. That is a hard entrepreneurial journey. They built a great business. And over the last 18 months, we've been the proud owners. And it was built for success. It was built for growth, which we've come in. We added a cafe in Cranston. We've expanded the wholesale operations, but then we were set to open on Point Street in May, but obviously that did not happen. And we're dealing with all the same stuff everybody's dealing with right now on the pandemic. And it's by far the most complicated time in business I've ever been involved in. And, we are manufacturing because we have production, we're retail, we got all of the issues across the board. We weren't planning on this. And I will say it's been stressful with high anxiety all the way around, but it's been thrilling as well. I mean, we have a great team and we're fortunate we will come through this. I think it's going to be really hard for small businesses, but being in the fight is really important. As it relates to entrepreneurship, because that's what this is really bit, and then I'm going to switch to social entrepreneurship. I love entrepreneurship because to me, the individual or a small group of individuals, not just can win, but really does win and should win. I mean, it is. I've been inside of big companies, particularly when I was at the NBA and we partnered with large companies. Large companies are really not good at doing new things, innovative things. And that is why individuals have a chance to win and do win all the time. If you just look across the landscape, somebody started that. And if you said, well, something previously existed that would have done it better, on paper, they would have done it better, but they never do. The entrepreneur is all in all the time, is living, eating, breathing, sleeping that venture. They're trying to solve a problem for people that some people don't even know they had that problem, but you're trying to solve that problem and you're all in. And that's why entrepreneurs win. I also find it to be incredibly honest. There's been so many institutions over the last 20 and 30 years that have failed all of us. I mean, we're dealing with it every which way, every day. And you can just go through the litanies. And I would include large companies in that. I went to Harvard Business School, and there's been a series of just fraud activity, whatever, that is just so revealing, and it's crushing. But entrepreneurship is the exact opposite of that. It's about renewal and energy and starting, and coming up with an idea and solving a problem for consumers, and you making it happen. So I mean, to me, I really I don't like investing. I don't like large companies, but I love entrepreneurial ventures, and I love entrepreneurs. I have done a lot on the NBA Math Hoops. I think that NBA Math Hoops is a great example. I will tell you, the budget for NBA Math Hoops is tiny. It's 6 figures, but barely. But and it's really not me, this is a group of people who have just done an unbelievable job. We are teaching math to middle schoolers across the country. We're in 4,250 middle schools and middle school after school programs, 7 years in, and our budget is nothing. And it's just a group of highly committed people working with schools to make it happen. And it is incredibly refreshing. And you can look at it and say, well, why didn't Scholastic do this? I don't know, but they can never do something like what we did with NBA Math Hoops, because we lived it, we breathed it, and we made it happen. My observation on social entrepreneurship, and I will end with this, I will say on the positive, it's a lot easier to get a meeting than in the for-profit world, because in the for-profit world, there's a lot of people competing with people to get meetings, and it's a very clear ask. So in the not-for-profit world, you're telling a great story, and you're trying to solve something that's important, and there are a lot of people who are interested in that. That's great. The downside, and I think this is a bigger downside than the upside is up. The bigger downside to me, I was very naive in this. It's hard. It's much easier to get the meeting, but it's much harder to get the funding. In the for-profit world, and this is where I was naive, in the for-profit world, there is an industry that is organized around funding successful ventures. There's a lot of money chasing ideas and people. And if NBA Math Hoops had the same trajectory and success in the not-for-profit world, we would have been beating investors off with a stick, which I've been in the fortunate position of doing in the past. It's the exact opposite here, and it was candidly the most frustrating thing I've ever been involved in, because I felt, that if we built it in such a way that was, demonstratingly, when we spent, of our budget, we spent 40% on research, a longitudinal research, proving that we were teaching arithmetic to middle schoolers in a way that had not been achieved. And we have the data, and that should be very fundable as far as I'm concerned. And it was much harder than I expected. And that's really disappointing. And it's a reason, Kelly's organization, Austin's organization exists, because, it's much harder doing what you're doing than I think people understand from the outside. So I didn't time that, Kelly. Did I go longer?
No, that was
Okay.
great. Thank you so much, Bill, for sharing your story, and thank you for the work that you have done, and I know will continue to do. And thank you for supporting so many entrepreneurs. So I'm going to turn it back over to Austin. Thanks again, Bill, for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Bill. Thank you, Bill. So just a few housekeeping notes before we get started. Again, just please be muted for the duration of the pitches and resist the urge to applaud before the very end. We're going to have a time where we can all unmute and get loud for everyone and congratulate them. And then also we are recording this event. So if you want to turn your video off, if you don't want to sort of show up on this screen, that would be totally fine. Just want to let you know that in advance. And just a few words about this cohort before we get started. So I've had the pleasure of working with this group from our beginning in late February when we could all be in a room together. And the world has become a much different place in the preceding months, even in the last few weeks. So I think just with both the uncertain future of a pandemic and also the deep wound of racial injustice in this country, I know for myself, it's easy to feel like change isn't possible. But getting to see just the passion and dedication of these entrepreneurs, both to their ideas and to their communities, all of them juggling jobs, family obligations under quarantine, all of that gives me a real reason for hope. And I am really grateful to them. It has been lovely getting to know them and their ideas, and I am excited both for tonight and for moving forward. So grateful to them. And we can go ahead and get started with the pitches, if we can get the slides up. So I would like to introduce our first speaker. It is Fernanda Bolaños, the founder of BASA.
Hi, thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you and your families are well and safe in this difficult time. My name is Fernanda Bolaños, and with my partners Mega Molina and Rosinta Fuentes are creating BASA. BASA is on a mission to inspire and develop the next generation of innovators by designing creative learning opportunities for the children of today, with a special focus on STEAM learning. We aim to prepare children and teens for the challenge of the 21st century, and to build a lifelong community of learners who are passionate in STEAM and are prepared to build a better future for everyone on the planet. Through our online and on-site community platform, we will offer different playful educational resources, after-school programs and summer programs, individual mentorship, and learning tools in the forms of educational kits, books, and guides. Our programs and products are designed to spark curiosity and engage children in full learning experiences. We design a curriculum and materials with experts on the topic, experienced educators, and talented storytellers. Next slide, please. For example, in one of our programs called Building Flying Machines, students play the role of engineers, scientists, and inventors. They build rockets, kites, drones, and send a weather balloon to space. I don't know if you have done anything of this, but it's really hard. It requires creativity, critical thinking, problem solving, and intensive collaboration. We personalize the experience of our students by putting special attention in understanding how they learn, what are their natural talents and interests, and what is the social cultural background. So we are able to create an inclusive environment where the students feel supported, capable, and know they can become inventors. Moreover, through our platform, educators will be able to create courses, customize curriculum, and view student progress. And families will be able to be part of the child's learning and have direct communications with the educators if needed. We strongly believe that by working together as a community, we can give our children the tools they need to face the challenge of the future. Next slide, please. We have designed and taught the BASA methodology with close to 100 middle school students. And right now we are preparing to launch a free virtual summer programs in response of COVID-19. We are looking to partner with local organizations that usually offer summer programs but have been impacted by the social distancing regulations. We are a team of educators, inventors, scientists, engineers, artists, and illustrators who are ready to share our experience and knowledge with the future generations. We hope that with your help, we will be a step closer in building the future of learning, starting with the children of Providence. We just opened an Instagram account, BASA Kids. So if you want to keep in touch, you can follow us there and check our website. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Fernanda. So next up, we have Abby Burrows, founder of Empirical Nature.
Thank you, Austin. First slide, please. Good evening. My name is Abby Burrows. I am the founder of Empirical Nature. We got our start in Newport just over a year ago and are now based in Providence. I am aware that you all have your microphones muted, but I'd like us all to say the word empirical together out loud at home. Ready? Empirical.
Empirical.
You all sounded great. For those of you who may not use the word empirical in regular conversation as often as I do, it simply means based on observation. I started this business to support organizations like we're learning about tonight, who need help working with data and evidence to understand their impact. All mission-driven entities set out to achieve an impact, but most struggle to accurately measure and clearly communicate that impact. Capacity for internal evaluation is often limited, and formal external evaluation can be expensive, out of reach, and out of touch. We bridge that gap by providing expertise and services that fit within day-to-day practices in an accessible, approachable, and actionable way. We have over a decade of experience in research and evaluation and over 6 years working directly with nonprofits in Rhode Island, on staff, on boards, and as partners. It's because we've been on the ground with nonprofits for years that we are effective in what we do. We understand. We seamlessly embed with our organizations, working in line with our team, providing insights, designing strategies, and doing the work, all to improve and streamline processes for measurement, ensuring outcomes are aligned with goals. Next slide, please. As a venture, we are a strategic partner for organizations looking to strengthen their use of data and evidence to better understand and communicate their impact. How do we work? We listen and review current practices, metrics, and goals. We identify areas for improvement and conduct tailored data collection when needed. We build a relationship, and unlike others in our field, we stay with an organization over time to ensure their messaging remains clear and powerful. Data can be a scary four-letter word, along with evaluation. Everyone has a different relationship with data and what it means to them. We aim to make that relationship more comfortable, and while we work with it in many forms, whenever possible, our approach is observational, as you inferred from our name. We specialize in interviews, focus groups, surveys, and other measures that give our clients an opportunity to learn directly from the people they serve. Next slide, please. Our clients learn whether the work they are doing is having an impact. They become more efficient in their decision-making, they develop more successful programming, projects, and fundraising and marketing efforts. No two clients are the same. Our personalized approach helps organizations become more confident in either staying on course or making adjustments along the way, at all times prepared to communicate the progress and success of their programs, both satisfying their constituency and donors and leading to more competitive fundraising and community building efforts, often leveraging identified gaps in securing opportunities for future funding. Our work does also save an organization both time and money by helping them become more effective and enabling their team to focus on what they do best. Many of you here tonight represent an organization or know someone who does, and we ask for your help. We are interested in talking directly with members of the staff or board of all kinds, shapes, and sizes of organizations about their current practices and needs, so please put us in touch. With every conversation we have, we refine our services, better positioning ourselves to help our clients reach their full potential. We thank you for your referrals and for supporting our work.
Thank you, Abby. Next up, we have Melissa Gillette of 15-Minute Field Trips.
Hi, I'm Melissa Gillette of 15-Minute Field Trips, a 501c corporation that helps youth advocate for the environment through art and community action. Imagine you're a kid and you go to play outside, only to find trash and broken glass everywhere. How would you feel about nature? How would this influence your attitudes as an adult? Several studies have shown that today's environmental advocates share two traits in common: having family or team mentors and positive nature experiences in youth. With 15-Minute Field Trips help, third graders created art based on creek animals they learned about. The art was made into permanent signs addressing the impact of litter along the Anawassa Creek. The result was reduced litter in the area and several families helping out at cleanups, even sharing their own stories of playing in the creek. Another group decided to paint their art on reusable bags, sharing their message wherever they shop. We even organized a 2-mile hike along the creek, followed by 6 rotating science stations, where community members and 8th graders ran them. One of the highlights of the trip was finding a three-legged baby turtle, which an autistic boy who hates the feel of glue was overjoyed to hold. Next slide, please. 15-minute field trips creates these experiences as 90-minute, 6-week, and virtual programs, pop-up museums, online resources, and videos. We meet you where you are, mentally, physically, even virtually. It's about your environment. We use the arts to help you explore, remember, problem solve, and share, as nature does. These experiences develop empathy and teamwork, reduce stress, and empower youth to take action. These actions include litter cleanups, planting of trees, public art displays, citizen science, and volunteer opportunities for teens. Next slide, please. Through frequent exposure to environmental concepts, 15-minute field trips creates future advocates and reduces anxiety through the enjoyment of nature. We are in a climate crisis, and it will take more than one generation to address the problems we face. I have taught over 20 years, but it's my own childhood experiences that have driven me to teach environmental education through art, when all too often education has been taken over by screen time and tests. 15-minute field trips need your support to offer programming and exhibits. For $300, you can sponsor a child in a 6-week program. For $900, you can sponsor a pop-up museum in the local community. We also have public exhibits such as our upcoming Insect Orchestra, and we'd like to repeat the East Bay Bikeway Art Day, where we set up nature stations and sponsor 6 local artists along the bike path to engage in community and art making and time outdoors. With your support, we can face the future less afraid and working together.
Thank you, Melissa. So next up, we have Sandra Enos of Giving Beyond the Box. Oh, Sandra, I think you might be muted. Hold on.
Yes, I'm sorry.
All right.
Try that again. I'm sorry. Thank you, and welcome to everyone tonight. Thank you for joining us. My name is Sandra Enos, and I'm founder of Giving Beyond the Box. We curate gift boxes that include products that make social impact, that clean the environment, that empower women, that resettle refugees, and so much more. And with a box full of great products, next slide, please. With a box full of great products, we have created what we call a virtuous circle. Our product has what we call triple bottom line giving. It has 3 benefits. The first benefit is to the person who gives this box, who can see him or herself as a thoughtful and meaningful giver. The second impact happens, the second benefit is to the person who receives the box, being recognized as a person who values something important like empowering women. And the person who gets the box also gets to read stories about social entrepreneurs who have created these projects, who have created these products, who have found these problems and decided to make them their own. And the third benefit, of course, is the social impact all these products make. So in just over 6 months, we've made Valentine's Day boxes and holiday boxes and Father's Day boxes and Mother's Day boxes. We had a box which was called a Little Box of Hope that featured Rhode Island's leading social entrepreneurs. Those boxes have sold out, but we're making more. We're about to release a box which is called Hope Strikes Back that features products from Rhode Island's diverse communities, that celebrates those small businesses and social enterprises that are so important to our community health. And of course, the more boxes we sell, the more impact our partners like Impact Everything and Conscious Step and Beautiful Day in Adicia can have. So join me in pledging to give each other gifts that matter. No more silly gift cards, no more addiction to Amazon. When we give a gift to someone we love, let's make sure we do no harm, but still use that important ritual of gift giving to give a gift that matters, that reflects our social values. Listen, Giving Beyond the Box wants to sell a lot of boxes. I'd like to see one of our boxes in every mailbox in the United States, but we have bigger plans. We want to ramp up our impact by partnering with corporations and nonprofits to curate boxes with them that advance their own mission and passion. And I'd like you to join me in something that I'm calling the Chamber of Purpose. I think we all ought to take a pledge to use our consumer dollars to advance businesses and social enterprises that create wealth and well-being in our community for all members of our community. So please support Giving Beyond the Box, support our partners, and help us supercharge the impact that we all want to have. We so need each other so much. And I'd also like to say thanks to my coach, Todd Grant, and to all the advisors at SEG who have guided me along this path and kept me out of so much trouble. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sandra. Next up, we have Magdalena Andriozzi of Grands Flourish.
Hi, my name is Magdalena Andriozzi. I am the CEO and founder of Grands Flourish. And I'd like to thank, oh, here they are. I'd like to thank you for being here tonight and taking your time to listen. Next slide, please. Oh, no, all right, so I'm seeing it in another mode. Okay. Wow. Okay, let's start with a knock on the door. It happened around 2 a.m. in the morning in the summer of 2014. It changed my life forever. There stood CPS workers holding my crying granddaughter. I was not prepared. I had no diapers, no crib, no clothing, no food or childcare, nor was I emotionally, financially prepared for the roller coaster journey that I was about to undertake. Suddenly, I was a full-time caregiver of my granddaughter. Juggling a toddler at 50-something looks really quite different than at 20-something. I was scared and I was alone. I discovered that in Rhode Island, there were 13,968 children living with their grandparents. I discovered that Rhode Island ranked 16th highest for substance use disorder in America, specifically opioids and heroin. 40% of the children were removed from their parents because of substance use disorder and were put into foster care. I had no supports. I was one of those grandparents. That's how the idea for Grands Flourish was born. The slide that I'm hoping that everyone's looking at right now is the picture of our workshops. Is that what everyone's looking at? Okay. The road was bumpy for quite a while, but eventually Grands Flourish became a Rhode Island's only 501c3 nonprofit organization, providing supports and services to inspire, engage, and empower grandparents raising grandchildren. Together with love, information, we were stronger together. My journey allowed me to be quoted in the Washington Post and in Grands Magazine to advocate for the status of grandparents. I've spoken to over 125 experts at the Governor Gina Raimondo's Rhode Island Prevention Task Force, as well as the Rhode Island Department of Health, about Grands Flourish programming. A Grand Space workshop is a special place where grandparents share their stories over coffee, they bond, cry, laugh a lot, and learn about resources and supports available to them. We learn about different things. Some of them are navigating complex systems like family courts and child welfare, why self-care matters, what substance abuse looks like in Substance Use Disorder 101. We have peer-supported groups that get together on a weekly basis. Next slide, please. If you know a grandparent or a neighbor in this situation, please let them know about us. Our ask is for 2020 is to have 3 board members come on board and help us navigate what it's like to be a nonprofit. I'm just a grandparent with a grandchild. I'd never thought that I'd be sitting here 3, 4, or 5 years ago. So if you know a neighbor, a friend, because this affects everyone in some way, shape, or form. So please give me a call. I'd be happy to talk to you. Visit our website, log on. I appreciate everyone's time. I'm sorry for the technical difficulties. Thank you for listening. Have a great summer.
Thank you, Magdalena. So next up, we have Caroline Jean-Baptiste, founder of Curly Girl.
Great. So for Curly Girl, it's so great to be here and pitching with you all to share Curly Girl's vision for health and beauty in the Black hair care market. Next slide. So on this slide right here, you can see the Andre Walker texture scale. 60% of the world's population colloquially called curly. Unfortunately, not all hair is curly. The majority of the population has curly and coily hair wrap in the beauty market. More than 75% of products catered to Black women are potentially hazardous. 50% of African American women deal with alopecia, and this data reflects my experience. At the age of 19, I suffered from alopecia, and I suffered from actually missed periods and reproductive issues because of my hair products. So I decided to create a solution for myself and a solution for others. Next slide. Next slide. And that solution was Curly Girl. So since 2018, Curly Girl has been, oh, the second slide. Since 2018, Curly Girl has been, second slide, Austin. So since 2018, Curly Girl has been catering to folks with coily hair with our organic and plant-based products through our D2C web platform, curlygirl.com. So our distinction truly is in our products. We're 100% pure. We are price pointed affordably, and we really do center underrepresented voices in our brand imaging, in our formulations, and in our language. So we're uniquely formulated for folks with coily hair, type 4 hair. Next slide. So yeah, Curly Girl truly aims to be a vanguard in health and beauty for women of color. And we're making way in the $2 billion hair care market, the $2 billion Black hair care market. We've gained traction, we're revenue generating, and we have a great team of dedicated Brown alumni that are on our advisory board and just on our side, which brings me here today with SEG and with my ask. So we're here really to pitch and ask for the SEG community to support us with no equity or minimal equity investments. If you guys don't know, Black women raise an average of $37,000 in comparison to white male-led firms, which raise $1.3 million. So really, the SEG network support would be super instrumental to our company's growth. Once again, my name is Caroline Jean-Baptiste. Thank you so much for listening to me pitch about Curly Girl and our vision for health and beauty for women of color.
Thanks so much, Caroline.
Yeah, thank you.
So next up, we have Sarah Nadampali of Siren Women's Cooperative.
Hi, y'all. Hey, Louise.
Hi, I'm Sarah Nadampali, Director of Siren Women's Cooperative. We are a membership-based women's group sounding the alarm that the professional and personal development of women should be inclusive, current, connecting, and inspiring. We are a women's group like no other. While other women's groups are often solely business and networking focused, we represent a diverse range of supportive, work-minded women of all ages, stages, and backgrounds. We meet regularly for our monthly talk and networking series, but the beating heart of our co-op is our Ready to Work exchange, where we mentor women in need to develop job-seeking skills. Our Ready to Work participants then become members of our co-op. Our values of inclusion, curiosity, and big thinking bring all of our members together as we exchange our unique lived experiences and find rich common ground in being women in the work world together. Next slide. Hundreds of women have participated in our talk series, which has included topics such as asserting yourself at work and stories of women of color. We also offer dynamic relationship-based networking events that just feel friendly and organic. In piloting our Ready to Work exchange, Siren volunteers have worked with community-based organizations to identify women who need those critical resume, mock job interview, and dressing for success skills. I'd like you to meet our first Ready to Work participant, pictured here, Saisha, and I think she's in the room tonight. Saisha went through a difficult period of homelessness with her 3 children. Now, over a year later, she has her own apartment and is pursuing an entrepreneurial path with her crisp resume, confidence, and the support of the Siren Network always at her side. Saisha has also published in our Women, Words, and the Water book that we sell to support the Ready to Work exchange. Through Ready to Work, we build strong, lasting relationships with our participants by exchanging stories with one another and providing long-term networks of support. Participants often tell us that they feel like they finally found their people through Siren, a real support team, and sometimes for the first time in their lives, other women who really have their back. The Ready to Work exchange embodies all of our Siren values and our mission to build knowledge, connection, and inspiration among all women. Next slide. Our Siren endeavor is sustainable through membership dues, subsidized Ready to Work participant fees, our book sale profits, and hopefully through your engagement and support. We are seeking new Siren members, talk sponsors, and donors. We specifically seek to fully actualize our Ready to Work exchange through a sponsored part-time program director who will assist at least 25 women with finding that fulfilling job match within 1 year. You may also consider one-to-one sponsorship for Ready to Work at the $900 level. And I'm sure you can agree, now is the time to support women in securing work. So, will you join us in sounding the alarm? We really believe that women coming together from a diverse range of backgrounds in the spirit of learning, professional growth, and service really does matter and can maybe change our world. Please visit us at sirencooperative.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sarah. So next up, we have Catherine McGee and Lane Mayer of Visit.
Hi, I'm Lane Mayer.
And I'm Catherine McGee, and we are 2 of the co-founders of Visit.
Visit is developing a monthly subscription-based guided program, including an activity kit and an app that helps caregivers positively interact with their loved ones with dementia.
First slide, please. There are currently 16.3 million family and friend caregivers of people with dementia in the US. And because someone new develops Alzheimer's, the most common form of dementia, every 65 seconds, there will be close to 39 million caregivers by 2050. Caregiving is taxing physically and emotionally. 90% of dementia caregivers report their biggest challenge is emotional stress, and 32% of people say that they would stop visiting a loved one who no longer recognizes them.
Next slide. Visit solution, relieving caregiver stress by providing a fun, structured solution to building positive relationships with loved ones with dementia. Visit is based on the SERPER method, a proven social cognitive program developed 25 years ago by our 3rd co-founder, my mom, Lynn Serper. The kit includes curated and proven social, cognitive, and sensory objects, activities, and games. There's a workbook that guides caregivers in positively interacting with their loved ones, no matter their stage, their ability, or their mood. And there's an app that has behavior tracking capabilities to help caregivers craft long-term relationship strategies, and also includes a family communication tool. Overall, Visit empowers caregivers to make their interactions with their loved ones far more meaningful.
Next slide, please. We've developed a business model that reflects our marketplace, and as a for-profit social venture also allows for sustainable growth. As you can see in this 5-year growth graph, we are also building in a system to supply a percentage of visit kits at low or no cost to low-income, high-risk communities, alongside partnering with individuals and organizations in those communities as we are developing and expanding our program. Our overall goal in Visit is to make this accessible to as many families as possible in order to change the culture surrounding dementia and bring positivity to the experiences of all caregivers.
If you'd like to learn more about Visit, please go to our website, thevisitkit.com. We are beginning to recruit for user testing. So if you or somebody that you know would have interest in participating, please get in touch with us. We're incredibly grateful that we could be part of this SEG experience and such a great cohort, and really excited to be here today. Thank you everybody for participating.
Thank you to you both. And finally, we have Gwinnett Kangis of Wisdom for Living. Gwinnett, I think you might be muted.
Oops, is that better?
That is better.
Oh, so I'm Gwinnett, and my venture is Wisdom for Living, which is a life enrichment program for cognitively functioning elders. The program went live in 2013, and it's still going strong, except for this pause for COVID. A few things led me to create this program. First slide, please. One was the death of my husband in 2010. After 38 years, I had to recreate my life. Also, since 2002, I'd been working part-time for home instead senior care. My clients taught me that despite inevitable limitations, they still wanted to live a vital life. And my master's in psych and religion taught me that 3 components are involved in living a meaningful life: body, mind, spirit. So I began checking into the activities offered at various residential communities and found that there were few, if any, that included the spirit. Bingo and bridge have their place, but for a life well lived, the spirit needs to be nurtured. That's why I created Wisdom for Living. And as far as I know, it's the only program of its kind in Rhode Island. Now, at this point, you might be wondering, how does Wisdom for Living work? What does it do? The format is a discussion, and everyone gets a sheet with quotes pertaining to the topic. Second slide, please. Our topics all relate to aspects of daily living, ranging from wrinkles and aging to new beginnings, from death and dying to being here now. As facilitator, I work to create a comfortable and affirming atmosphere. Participants share thoughts and opinions and listen. In the process, they connect with each other on a deeper level, something that would not happen playing bridge or bingo. Third slide, please. Over time, our discussions help participants recognize their own strengths and wisdom, and overall, help them define or redefine what gives their life meaning and purpose now. Wisdom for Living stimulates personal growth by challenging their thinking and nurturing their spirit. However, since I'd like to retire sooner rather than later, I won't tell you my age, but I'm much older than our first presenter. I need to find a new home for Wisdom for Living. So I've begun searching for a person or people or an organization that would understand and support the mission, vision, and value of Wisdom for Living and keep it growing in Rhode Island and beyond. When that happens, I can retire with peace of mind and a joyous spirit. Namaste.
Thank you, Gwinnett. Those are all our pitches tonight. I'm wondering if we could take a minute to all unmute and congratulate all of our fabulous.
Bravo.